for those of us who have children who stutter, the job just gets even more complicated. And one parent who faced this challenge, Katy Stokes, is here tonight to share her story. Katy is a retired lawyer who sits on several boards and 2 civic associations. And she has a particular interest in solving houses and education issues. Her husband, David Essex, has been on the board of AIS almost since its inception, and both of Katy's children stuttered. And they are now successful and happy adults. So she's going to come up here and share some of her insights into raising children who stutter with us now.
Good evening. So, as you heard, I am the mom of 2 AIS clients. Our eldest child is our son, Will, who was diagnosed at the age of 7 as a severe stutterer. I have such a clear memory of hearing the diagnosis at AIS. I'd hoped to hear that Will's stutter was just a natural phase of development that he would outgrow soon. Mind you, my hope was quite unrealistic. Even as a 5- and 6-year-old, Will would sometimes turn bright red with all of the blood rushing to his face as he tried to force out words that seemed stuck. He would even sometimes claw at his throat as if he could release the words that were stuck. But when they told us the diagnosis of severe stutterer, I think my heart crumpled a little. But then I was reassured by the very next thing that the AIS therapist said. She said that they'd never seen such a confident severe stutterer. She said that, in fact, that their main therapeutic goal for Will was to support and build on his confidence. She said that his confidence was a great gift, as they had seen clients with much more mild stutters who were deeply impacted by their fluency issues because they were so embarrassed by their stutter, mild as it was. So we signed Will up for AIS, and from 1st grade through high school, Will did individual therapy and group therapy at different times and met other great young kids who stuttered and played crazy games with his therapist, Carl, and learned lots of helpful techniques, including the importance of self-advertising that he stutters. Over the years, AIS gave Will the skills and extra boost to his confidence to know that what he had to say was important and that others needed to be willing to wait to hear what he had to say. In fact, I remember one instance when Will was in high school that Emily played a role. She helped him feel extra confident about an issue he was facing in school. Will had a teacher who regularly finished his sentences for him and wouldn't allow time for Will to finish speaking. Will had tried directly speaking to her, and I had tried during parent-teacher conferences, but she just kept cutting him off and finishing his sentences. Will raised the issue at a teen group meeting at AIS that he attended, and Emily, you happened to drop by and sit in with the group that day. When Will got home, he was all aglow because Emily had been outraged by the teacher's actions and offered to Will to contact the teacher directly on his behalf. Isn't that fabulous? Will loved that a Hollywood star was ready to rumble on his behalf. So our family was super fortunate to have AIS and Carl to give Will the tools and information about stuttering and to greatly support his confidence. So Will has graduated from college and from a master's program and is now working in biotech. He's actually getting married in October, and Carl and his wife are on the guest list. So, yeah. So you may recall that I said that I'm the mother of 2 AIS clients. Our daughter Eloise is 2 years younger than Will, and a few times over the years, she said that she stutters as well. Given that I only heard her stutter a few times, I basically ignored her comments about stuttering. But then she went away to college, and her first few weeks there were filled with icebreaker games and a multitude of times where she was required to introduce herself. While she doesn't stutter on most words, she regularly stutters on her name. And she found it deeply embarrassing at the beginning of college. She begged her friends to say her name for her, and during one class when they were starting the introductions, she fled the classroom crying. She also hid in the bathroom during another introduction session. She even talked about maybe leaving school and heading home. So her experience was much more impacted by her mild stutter than Will's had been by his severe stutter. Luckily, we knew who to contact. So Eloise started speech therapy with Carl on Zoom, and she was dubious to start. She knew about self-advertising from Will, and she was certain that she would rather gouge out her own eyes rather than self-advertise. But little by little, Eloise had given herself permission to stutter, learned to talk about it with others, and face numerous speaking fears. She actually became a resident advisor for incoming first-year students, which meant she had to introduce herself a lot. And then she was elected to lead one of the weekly church services on campus. She also chose to double major and had to prepare capstone oral presentations for both of them. We were astonished and also grateful to Carl and AIS for helping her achieve such freedom and confidence about speaking. So here's what I know from years of personal experience. Speech therapy at AIS is a remarkable resource for anyone, any age, who stutters. It provides a great sense of community to people who often feel alone with their stutter, and it makes very clear that what each person has to say is absolutely worth waiting for. So all of us in this room should be brand ambassadors for AIS, spreading the word and telling our friends and colleagues about it. Nobody who stutters should feel alone. Our family has been truly blessed by having AIS in our lives. We know others can benefit too. So before I leave the stage, I want to welcome you all to turn to dinner, and let me be a parent one last time and encourage you to eat your veggies this evening. All right, thank you.